So, have you been asked to bring some treats for, let's say, a church event or a scouting event and you're kind of stuck? I've got a great solution for you. I am going to be taking tonight to church some freshly cut fruit, and I bought these little containers. I think it was 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago for my daughter's graduation. And I didn't use all of them, so I'm going to be opening up that sleeve and putting some fresh cut fruit in there. And so, come on, you can follow me. Let's go do it. These are strawberries that I've got resting in some water with baking soda. And it does look like the water's a little bit red. Maybe I've got one in there that isn't so great. But I also use that same water for the grapes that I've cleaned. And so the grapes are cleaned and washed, and I've got the strawberries, and I'm going to make as many containers as I have for single strawberries. So I'm going to rinse those off and dry them off. We're going to put the strawberries and the grapes in first, and then fill the rest with some melon. Here's our grapes. I'm not going to use that many because the containers aren't that big. These are the little cups that I purchased. There's 25 in a set. They are, how many ounces? 8? What I saw, 8-ounce glasses. So we're going to take the cup, if I can get that one separated, and I'm going to put some grapes in first. Just put a couple in. That looks good. And I'm going to go grab that strawberry. So out of the strawberries, I've got 4 that need a little trimming, so I think I'm going to stick with the ones that don't need to be trimming. Now I'm going to take the tops off before I add them to the cup. All right, we've got a nice looking strawberry in there, and now I'm going to cut up some cantaloupe and some watermelon because I happen to have some, and I will layer those inside of the cup as well. And we're just going to go to the top of the rim. Out of that package of Aldi strawberries, I only ended up with 13 that I felt like were edible enough that I wanted to put them into the cups, but you can see that I've got everything laid out for the next part of the assembly. Both of my melons have been washed with good solid soap and water, and I just keep running the water over it until I don't feel any soap on it. I feel really strongly that I want the outside of the melon to be clean because whatever it was rolling in before it got to my house, I don't want that in my stomach, okay? So the reason I choose to use a cookie sheet is when I take this off, there's juice that runs all over the place, and then since I live on a farm, I can just take it out and throw it into the trees, and deer and other animals will come along and they'll eat the skins for that. So that's where this is going to go. It's not going to go in my trash can because it really starts to stink when it breaks down. And we only have trash out here every 2 weeks of the month, twice a month. And so I don't want that sitting in my trash can. So this is the next step. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is I always cut off the ends on both sides. Then I'll flip it up and I come around the sides, and it's super, super easy to work with at that point. So I cut off the 2 ends, and now what I'm going to do is just follow the white part. Whoops, there we go. White part straight down to get as much of that white part off. Now, if you want to save it and you want to pickle it or do whatever you want, that's great. I don't need it right now, so I'm just looking for the pink part inside the melon. Sometimes I misjudge how deep I'm going with the knife, so I'm just going to take a spoon and kind of scoop some of that extra pink out before I start slicing and dicing this watermelon. All right, watermelon's in. Okay. I've got them filled to the rim, and now I'm going to place the lids on them. Do you know what these remind me of? They remind me of like little sundae cups. Yeah. So this is what we're taking. This is what we're going to have. They're all going to have a nice little domed lid on them. And then I will just lay them out on a tray, and they can take one to go or sit there and eat one. Ta-da! All done with treats for church. So now I think we should break down the cost of everything and see if I had anything left. I had about 15 grapes left, 0 strawberries left, but I had a little bit of watermelon and cantaloupe left. Let's look and see how much was left out of the 2 small ones that I picked up at Aldi. This is a gallon bag, so not quite half a gallon of this and probably more like a quarter gallon of that, but that's really all I need. So I'm actually very thankful to have this opportunity to share this because my husband doesn't really like this. My husband was at a meeting and got this really nice canvas bag with handles. And so I have loaded up our goodies in here, and I'm going to add some silverware in a little bag. And this is going to go out in our refrigerator so that I can just grab it right before I go to church tonight because I have to tutor here in about an hour. And then shortly after that, I have to leave for church. On a side note, I got some cotton candy and I had a couple extras that I couldn't use. So I'm going to take those for any kids that come in for snack time tonight. I think they'll appreciate that. I found basically a whole package of 48 count forks. I think I'm going to take them all because we're almost out of the forks at church. And these aren't super strong, so they'll be perfect for fruit. Okay, everything's packed up and ready to go in the refrigerator. Okay, costs are going up all over the place, and it's really hard to just take something and say, oh, that was cheap, because nothing's ever cheap. I think the blessing here is that I have some containers that I can use. I didn't have to go buy anything new, so we don't have to consider that. I had the leftover fork, so that part's taken care of. The cantaloupe was $2.29. I used 3/4 of it, so let's just go with like $1.75. I'm not going to be able to add all this up in my head. We had the strawberries were $1.99. I'd say almost half of those were actually bad. So I'm going to say we lost a whole $2 on that. So where were we at? I can't even remember what I said before. $1.75. Let's go with $3.75 so far. The grapes were $2.67. I only had a few left. So let's go with $2.50 on that. And the watermelon. Why do I not have the watermelon on here? Did he not charge me for the watermelon? I do not see the watermelon on here. I'm going straight back down. Oh, there it is. Let's see. How did that ring up? Nope, that was the cabbage I bought. He didn't charge me for the watermelon. Okay, well, it was a cheaper deal than what I thought. So if you're looking for something that would be inexpensive, and I'm not really sure why that's not on there. I keep looking. Oh, there it is. It's at the bottom. It doesn't have the name on it. Well, that seems really odd. No, I think, yeah, no, it's not on there. It's not on there. I'll take a picture of it in a minute. You guys can tell me if you saw it, but I do not see it on here. Anyway, so let's just say that I had a $6 snack that I'm taking, which had 12 servings in it. So that's really cheap for a snack. They're pre-portioned. They're 8 ounces. They're easy to, and they're already in the cup. So I don't have to stand there and serve it. People can just take it and go sit down. And I think that's what I was really looking for when it comes to a snack that's healthy. We serve this after church. Well, it's Lenten season, so after church, it's 8 o'clock at night. Who needs a big snack at 8 o'clock at night? It's really more for fellowship. So I'll lay those out later, and we will enjoy our snack. Again, I don't see it on here. If you do, let me know.